Good afternoon. My name is Sandra, and I'm going to take my mask off so that you can see my lips moving and I can breathe better. And today we're going to make 2 cards. This is what we would do if we had the in-house card class here at the Lebanon, Oregon Senior Center. But since we're on restriction, we're going to make these online. All right, let me see. Can you see that? This is the first card, and they're oriented towards the 4th of July celebration. But you can also use these to celebrate someone's birthday or to celebrate retirement, graduation. You can use thinking of you. Even a birthday would be good. All right, so these are the 2 cards we're going to make, and I think we'll put that one aside and we'll start with this one. Okay. So if you would have called into the Senior Center to get the packet of supplies, materials, you will have in your packet 1 card base that is 8.5 this way and 5.5 this way, and there's a score line in the center. We want to start out by folding that in half to make our card base, and we want to crease it down, and you can use any kind of flat surface to help you crease it down, or you can use your thumb, but that rubs my thumb the wrong way. Then you'll have another little piece of this craft colored cardstock that is, okay, where did I write that down? This is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. When you fold your card base, it's 4 1/4 across the top, and it will be 5.5 this way. This is called portrait orientation. This piece is cut 1/4 of an inch smaller than your card base, so it will have a very, very small, you can't see this I'm sure, border around it. We're doing that because we will be tying string around this piece, and if we tried to tie the string around here, you'd tie the card closed. So take our piece of craft, and you have 3 pieces, 3 strips, got that backwards, that are 1 1/4 inches this wide and 4 inches long. Now let me show you how we do those. I'm going to use just a piece of scrap green cardstock, and we're using a border punch that has the stars. So this is one of those punches where you push the lever and it opens it up so you can punch with it. Now this is really a stiff punch, so you have to really give it a good crunch. So again, you probably won't see this very well because of the way it's situated. Whoops, let's go this way. But we have the green piece, and we're going to put it in here. You do not want to see it pop out this side, this little strip. And you want to give it a firm push, and you will get the stars punched out. Okay, we can have a closer view. That's good. So we have the stars. Now you will notice on the punch that on the base here there are the little stars, which is the same pattern here. So when you only go halfway through here, you want to do the second half, and you want to line this up where you can see the silver stars coming through, and that's lined up perfectly. And then you give it a firm punch, and there you are. Whoop, let's get this over the white paper here. And there you are. All right, so let's put that mess aside. Now you can keep these little stars to use as confetti if you'd like. And let me tell you a funny little thing to do to irritate or surprise the person receiving the card. So once you've made the card and you've written your greeting inside the card, put your little confetti in there, close it up, put it in the envelope, and then when your friend opens the card, poof, all the little confetti pops out. Not everybody will like that idea. All right, so now we're back to our card base here, and we have our red, white, and blue stripes, and we want to adhere those down. Now, because these things have so many holes in it, it's probably not the best to use a glue stick, because as you're rubbing it across, the glue will also come out the holes, and that will be very messy. This is one of my favorite adhesives. It's a tape runner that has sticky, it's like double-sided tape, and it comes out. But again, that will not be a good thing to use on here, because you'll go right over the holes and then you'll have stickiness. So I'm using just a regular white glue, liquid glue, with, they call it a fine point. It's not really that fine, but it's good enough in this case. So what we want to do is simply dot some glue, probably give it a long, give it some along the sides, and then just dot a few places here in the middle. It's not like this is going to get a lot of handling once you have it done. All right, so we have some glue on there, and I always like to start from the outside edges first, line that up and press it down, and then the blue, okay, and just dot it all over here. You don't need a whole lot for this glue. It's really sticky, and it dries quickly. Okay, so then we'll put this one over here on this side, and you have a little bit of wiggle time here in case you don't get it straight. Okay, so we just want to press that down. So now you have your stripes on either side, and you can do the white piece, and when you put that down, you can space it evenly in the center. If you start at one side and start going over this way, you may not do the spacing correctly, and you'll have an uneven gap. Okay, so there we go, bunch of glue on there. All right, so let's see if I can practice what I preach here. Okay, so glued it to my finger. Okay, So there we go. Got a little bit of a few moments to wiggle it in place. Keep it straight. And there we go. Press it down now. If you don't want it to stick to you, that's a little piece of, what's it called? Plastic? No, not plastic wrap. Wax paper. There we go. This one's wax paper. Just press it down, that way you don't get ink on your hands. Okay, so there's this part. Now, back to our sample here. To get the Celebrate, that is a rubber stamp from a stamp set. So we're using this word, this Celebrate down here, and these are for the next card. So this is a Celebrate, and put that over there. It's a red rubber cling mount stamp. So you have the stamp, and then you have your clear blocks, and you put that on there. And I used the navy blue, ink. This is a dye ink, so it's a water-based ink, so it's easy to wash off, as opposed to a pigment ink, which is permanently stains things. Okay, so we gently tap around. We get a bunch of ink on our stamp, and in this case I'm not too concerned about if I get it straight or not. Okay, hold it down for 2 or 3 seconds so that the ink absorbs into the paper, and there we go. Alright, close up the ink pad. I have a tendency to stick my hand in things. Alright, so we're going to use another punch. And this is what the punch looks like. It's kind of like a torn ticket or a piece of tape or something where little tear marks there. Now you don't have to use a punch. You could simply cut out a rectangle. But okay, this is the top of the punch. Has the picture of what it is. But the way I like to punch things is turn it upside down so I could see through the window and see where my word is or my image, and then just punch. And there we are. There we are. There we are. Our word Celebrate. So in this case, we can use the glue stick. And again, I'm going to get out my piece of wax paper here. And just, I love these glue sticks that are purple or blue colored, so I can see where I'm putting my glue, because you don't want to skimp on your glue. So, glue, and then, now let's see if I can do this upside down. Then you just, is that straight? Okay, there we go. And then put the top back on your glue stick. And there we are for that part. Now, if you got one of the packets, inside the pack, the little quasi envelope here, whoops, sealed with a piece of washi tape. Open it up, and I gave you the word Celebrate, and then there's a piece of twine or string, whatever, that's 24 inches long. Now, you will find that that might be a little too much, but it helps to have extra when you're trying to tie a bow. So we want to wrap this around once and twice. And then let me see if I can do this on camera. I always put the ends underneath. Okay, so here we have, I'm going to turn it sideways. Now, tighten it up a little. And I tie half a knot. Okay, tie half a knot just to hold it firmly. And then I tie the little bow, which hopefully, oh, look at that. Right off the bat, I did a good one. So there you go. And if you'd like, you can space out the string. So it looks like that. And then what we want to do is glue it down to the card base. In this case, I think we'll use the liquid glue. And don't be heavy with it, but just, you can be generous. You don't want it popping off.
Right now.
Okay, so there we go. Just a little bit more there. Now, remember I said that this piece is a 1/8 of an inch smaller than this surface. So when I put it together, I start at one corner and I look at the border. Look at what a framing piece, and then I judge it. And like I said, the white glue here gives you a bit of wiggle room, so you could push it around, and you just put it down. Your border is pretty even, and there you are. Of course, you have to put it aside to let it dry, but there's your card. All done. Okay, so that is card number 1. Card number 2 is the fireworks card. And in your envelope or in your packet, you have a piece of blue cardstock for the base. It's scored in the middle, so you want to fold it, line up the corners so that they're straight, and crease it. So you have a nice crisp crease. And we're going to make this card in the landscape orientation, which is this way. You probably already know that this orientation is a portrait. Now, funny little thing to think about. This is like the hot dog version, because you fold it and you put a hot dog. And this is a hamburger. Don't ask me why somebody came up with that, but maybe that's better, easier to understand or remember than portrait and landscape. Okay, let me get my instructions so I don't forget anything.
Pretty sure it was an elementary school teacher. We used to say that a lot.
Ah, Rebecca says maybe my elementary school teacher told me that. Well, you know what? That could be true. Okay, so you will have your card base. You will have a piece of red cardstock as a panel. This one, again, when it's finished, it's folded, it's 5.5 by 4 1/4. This little piece, the mat, is 5 inches by 3 3/4. So therefore it is 1/2 inch smaller than this on both sides, all sides. So when you glue it down, you'll see that you have a nice frame around, blue frame around the red piece. Your white piece, my white piece, yours too, is 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. So this piece is 1/4 of an inch smaller than this one. So when you mount these like all together, you'll have a larger border here, a thin red border, and then your image piece. So let's put those two aside for now, and we're going to stamp the fireworks. Well, I'm going to stamp them. Yours are already stamped. So we're using red and navy blue ink, and I will open these up. There's the red, and there, that's the navy blue. Put that aside, and we have to unstick. We're using 3 different fireworks bursts for this card that are from this set of stamps. Now if you don't have these stamps, you can use something else. I have another stamp set that is dandelions, which have the starburst type look to them. They make a very nice card, and it looks like sparklers because it has a stem, of course. Or you can just draw these. It's a simple circle with rays coming out of it. All right, so what we have is, we'll start with the red. That's this one. And again, these pads are a sponge, a foamy piece, and so you don't want to press too hard. We're just tapping, and we have, you can see the ink, and we just want to stamp. Okay, and you stamp off on the side and stamp over here. If you'd like, you can line them up nice and evenly spaced, but I think it gives it a more artistic look to scatter them in different spots and to stamp off the page, because in nature things are not perfectly straight most of the time. Okay, the second, the smaller, and we're going to use the navy blue ink, is this little guy. And we're going to tap, 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 and we're going to stamp him around. And we're going to do it in sets of 3. So that's that. Oops. And then the greeting, the celebrate, I didn't stamp it crooked. That's the way the stamp is. It comes from this birthday set. Whoops, get that in frame. And the word celebrate is right there. So if you wanted to turn this into a birthday card, for example, you, instead of doing celebrate across the bottom, you can put happy birthday. Obviously not from this set, because the happy is right there in the balloon. But there's happy, well, oh, there's another happy. Really hard to read this upside down. But you can use a happy birthday across the bottom instead of the word celebrate. So these are clear vinyl or clear photopolymer stamps as opposed to the red rubber which we used here. So they're clear. You could see through them, which makes it really easy to line up your images. So obviously you won't be able to see the stamp very well. First of all, my block is a little messy, but it's in there. It's on the other side, it's on this side. So when we, again, tap gently, and if you have ink on the edge like this, you want to wipe that off before you start. Now, I won't be able to do this upside down so you could see, so I'll do it right side up on my side. In this case, I wanted to have the word celebrate go all the way across the card. So I stamped it first, starting from the left-hand side, and on the edge, and then there we are, the first celebrate. The second celebrate. I'm not measuring this or have any marks to show where I'm supposed to line it up. It's just eyeball. It's a handmade card. Please don't think you have to be perfect. Whoever receives this won't know if there's mistakes, because there are no mistakes. Okay, last one. Last attempt to stamp. We only get half the word, but that's okay. It still keeps the flow of the word. All right, we want to close our ink pad so it doesn't dry out. So there we go. And we bring back over our card base and our red mat. And what I'm going to do is put the white piece down first with my purple glue stick. So I like glue stick. Put lots of it on there. Wipe that off. And then again, this is 1/4 of an inch smaller than this piece. So when you line it up, you start at one corner and notice the spacing. It should be the same amount of spacing on these 3 sides. And then, okay, well, I wasn't exactly accurate, but that's okay. Especially doing it upside down. That's my excuse. Okay, so we press that down so it's nicely adhered. Then we flip that over, bring out my paper, and it's important to get the edges and the corners of your mats like this. The middle is not overly important, because if you get the edges, then it'll stick completely. Okay, so here we go. Be sure you know where your opening is so you don't get things upside down. All right, so again, this one is a 1/2 inch. The red is 1/2 inch smaller than your blue, so your margins will be bigger. Your framing will be bigger. Same idea applies. You want to start at one corner and look and see how much of a margin you have, and then press it down nicely, like that. Now in your kits, I did not provide sparklies or gems or rhinestones, whatever you like to call them. But you can, if you have some of these sparklies, see the sparklies, then you can use some of these. Okay, take your pokey tool, slide it underneath, place it, and just press it down. These are self-adhesive. Some you can get that are not self-adhesive. Then you'll have to use a little dab of liquid glue. So, and as you can see, these come in several different sizes. So you take your pokey tool, very sharp point, be careful. I have been known to draw blood. Whoops, okay, so there it is. And
That would match this card. It's just another firework.
say what there?
If you bleed on this card, it matches, and just turn it into another firework.
Yeah, okay, so we have 3 big red ones, so we'll put 3 of the larger jewels, sparklies, whatever. There we go. Now you could put 1 in each of the blue ones, but I think 3 is a good number. It highlights the big fireworks. So there you go. That's the outside. Now, unlike our first card that is done in craft cardstock, you can write with a black ink pen on here, felt tip pen, whatever, and you can easily read it. You won't be able to see very much on this dark navy paper, cardstock rather. So what you have in your kit is an inside piece. It's a little fuzzy on the edge here. An inside piece of paper for a piece of paper for the inside. There we go. And this is just a regular piece of copy paper from my printer at home, which I cut to 5 1/4 by 4. So you'll have a 1/4 of an inch border. I used the tiniest, the smallest, almost the smallest, of the fireworks from this set. That little guy right there. It's just a little accent, just a little something to add in there. So you glue that down inside, and then you can write the message right there. So where's my finished card? What did I? Oh, right here, right here, right here. So here's the finished card on the without the sparklies. Here's the finished card outside with the sparklies, and then here's the finished on the inside. Now this I used the larger, this size, the medium size fireworks, put it up here, and you have plenty of room to write a message in here. If you need more room, you can add another piece of white paper up here and write some more. So there's 2 of those, and we have 2 of these, and that's as easy as it is. Thank you very much.
You were showing them your birthday card, or if you already did.
Oh, yes.
Your alternate.
Rebecca just reminded me of something. Like I said, we can change the greeting on these to make it whatever occasion, thinking of you, whatever. So we could take this one, this the same papers, instead of doing celebrate, I rotate it this way, and we can put on a piece that says happy birthday, which, looking at it upside down, I see that the happy birthday is crooked, but that's okay. It's a handmade card. It won't hurt having the handmade look. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining us. Rebecca on camera behind me that way, and Sandra up front with the cards. Thank you.